agenda, sort of a last minute add to the front of the agenda, which is 4 Taylor Street. It's just the property owner at 4 Taylor Street just is curious about how you feel about a shed project that she wants to do. So I said,
what is this going to be, a little presentation?
not really. I have one graphic to show, but it's just a question for you guys.
Oh, okay. So should we start with that?
Yeah, I feel like we should start with that after Plum Island updates, maybe.
Still need another. Oh, we got it. Carol.
Yep. Yeah.
There's Carol. Okay. What's the name of that? The first, the
Or
people.
Taylor Street. I added to the agenda. It's on the agenda that I'll put up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's on that one. Oh, okay.
Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Hello, Carol.
Hello.
So I don't know where Gretchen is, but we're gonna start at 4:45. At 4:45. At 6:45.
In some other time zone.
Yes, in the central time zone, we'll be starting at 4:45.
Julia, have you been involved at all with what's happening in Salisbury, or you just kind of watch and listen?
We were just talking about that. I haven't been involved at all, but I was just speaking with their conservation agent yesterday about it, getting sort of the inside scoop. Apparently it's not as bad as what the media made it out to be over there, but they did lose a lot. They lost about half of the sand that they put down. So it was not a good situation for sure. But I think that the media sort of implied that it was like all gone, and it wasn't.
Mm.
Makes a good headline.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened at it? Are we going to talk about this later? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
All right.
What happened out in Reservation Terrace? Anything out there, or is it still status quo?
Oh, they fared pretty well. Yeah, relatively speaking, I guess.
Okay. All right, let's get this going. Bring this meeting to order. This is the March 19th, 2024 Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting taking place on the Zoom platform. This meeting's being recorded. The first item on the agenda are the January 16th, 2024 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any changes or additions?
Sorry,
I just
don't have
have-
those up. Sorry.
I just have something at the very end. I don't have it in front of me. If you can just go to the last part, I believe it had me voting on an item and I wasn't there.
Is this for January 16th or February 6th?
Ah,
Did I put January 16th?
Oh,
Sorry, the meeting minute, so the agenda is reading
Oh.
that incorrectly. It should actually be
sorry.
February 6th. That's my bad.
okay.
That I left it that way on the
All right.
agenda. February 6th, sorry. And
February
so David,
6th.
where did you want to go?
the very end, I thought that somewhere, when I read this the first time, oh darn.
Yeah, the adjournment has you voting yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's what it was. That's what it was.
Got it.
That was a test.
Mm.
Everybody but David failed it.
No, well. All right. Anything else?
Motion to
I-
approve.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, Seymour,
Yes.
David Vine.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay. Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Dan's mute.
Yes.
okay, and I vote yes. All right. Next, we have Any Plum Island updates?
Not really. I think it's pretty status quo out there, as we were just discussing. Nothing really new to report. We haven't heard from the Army Corps on their major maintenance report study yet, and it's just no news from the island right now.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I sent those photos when the road, at least by Joppa, was totally flooded. They were turning cars away. Was it flooded out to Plum Island too? Does anybody know? Was the causeway flooded?
Was
I think
this
I saw that it was closed briefly.
Yeah,
was
post like
last
half
weekend?
hour.
Yeah, or the weekend before, yeah. Not for
Okay.
very long, but the same day that they had all of the erosion on Salisbury Beach, it was closed, I think, for part of that day on Saturday.
Okay, just wondered. I mean, I've never seen that road, that part of Joppa closed from flooding, so.
Yeah, there was a lot of water coming down from up north.
Mhm.
All right, so we have a small presentation regarding Fort Taylor Street and the shed.
Yes, Judith Pickett is the homeowner. Judith, I've allowed you to unmute yourself if you'd like to, and I have your this is the sketch. I'll just give a brief introduction. So this is 4 Taylor Street. It's a double lot, but it's considered one lot right here, out to Barker. And this is a existing single family home. And you can see right here, right adjacent to this side property line is a shed, an existing shed. And you can also see that it's right up against the property line and sort of like on the property line. And so in an effort to, and it's an old shed, a very old shed. So in an effort to kind of like move it into a more appropriate location, given her proximity to her neighbors and with the property line, she wanted to move it to another location on the lot. Or just, replace it with a new shed somewhere else over here. Unfortunately, and these are the zoning setbacks that you can see. It's 20-foot zoning setbacks from the road. Unfortunately, this part of the site is all located in the V zone, and a good portion of this vacant lot is also within the V zone. And so in order to replace the shed, she'd have to elevate it 2 feet above base flood elevation in the V zone, and that sort of makes it impractical. So the question is, because she is moving an existing shed from, a location somewhere else on the site, and it is not as advantageous to put it in, there's a portion of this site back here that's in the AO zone. And in the AO zone, I apologize, I don't have the flood zone mapping on here, but in the AO zone, which sort of wraps around the corner like this, you only have to be 2 feet above the highest ground elevation because base flood isn't determined. But in the V zone, where base flood is determined, you have to be 2 feet above base flood, which makes it impractical. But Ms. Pickett doesn't want to move the shed to the AO zone over here because this is such a beautifully vegetated vacant lot with wildlife, and it's just an undisturbed area, and she'd prefer to just leave it natural and undisturbed and keep the shed on the more developed part of the lot. So the question to the commission is, would you be amenable to that sort of waiving of the regs in this case to move the shed within the V zone rather than somewhere else?
So is that our reg or DEP's?
It's ours.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have the elevation or the part of my property in the V zone and part in the AO zone, and Julia nicely printed that out for me, so I do have it right here. There's a large part of the vacant lot that is in the AO zone, and then there's a small portion of the more popular, or the other lot where my house actually is. but of course, that's right next to that empty lot part. So I don't know where I want to put it. It looks like a small part of that is in the AO zone, and then the rest of it would be in the
Oh,
velocity.
Really? And
Yeah.
where, so is
Can you
that
see
sort
it?
of
Can
over
you see me?
here? Where
So yeah, that's where you're pointing, is that it looks like on this is the AO zone, and it goes almost from that red line, maybe a little, yeah, like the red 20-foot mark, almost
Okay.
at a triangular to the corner of my,
Okay, so you would have it partially within AO and partially within V in this location?
if I put it where I would like to put it, yeah, closer to being, I guess right now what I'm looking at is the AO zone. And
Mhm.
then what's next to that, where that black car is,
Yeah.
right next to that is a right of way. Well, it's sand.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, and that's about 10 feet between their property line and mine. And then if I would like to just put it 6 feet inside of my property line, 6 feet away from the people behind me. And that would be, yeah, part of it would end up being in the AO zone, and part of it would be in the V zone.
so, and would it be in this area that's sort of like
That's my driveway.
in your driveway
If you keep going, no other way.
down here?
Yeah.
And this is
And it also allows my neighbors, it's not going to block anyone's house. It's not going to block anyone's view.
okay.
They're all okay with it.
Why don't we, commissioners, do you feel comfortable with, I mean, I think Judith, at this point, it'd be good to see a plan showing where you'd like to put it.
Yeah, I'd like to see where she wants to put it and where the AO and the V zones are in relationship.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, me too.
So I could draw it maybe on this AO and V zone portion that Julia gave me, this map here.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna ask the commissioners, would you be comfortable with her, because she's removing it from another part of the lot, with her doing this as an RDA? If she can keep it in as much of the AO zone as possible? Or do you want to see it first and then we'll take it and then we'll decide?
Yeah, I'd like to see it first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that would be my preference.
And you're more than, I invite you to come and look at that empty space. I just would hate to put a shed in it.
Oh, I'm perfectly happy with you keeping that empty space, believe me.
Yeah, I love it. It's, I don't know. There are animals out there. I just love it.
Because if you put it there, then you'd have to be trekking back and forth to get to it.
I thought about that. I went out and I measured the 20 feet by 20 feet, and then, approximately where it would have to be. And you're right. I thought of that when I measured it.
Now,
Why
the
don't you-
6 feet that you mentioned, that is because of the building permit?
That's what I was told. It had to be 6 feet from a
Yeah.
neighbor's property, but Jen actually said, yeah, was it yesterday I was in there, Julia, I think?
Yeah,
I feel like I've been in there so much. Jen said that, they would probably defer to you all as far as like a setback. I mean, my neighbor behind me, she goes, put it on the property line. She goes, Judy, put it wherever you want. She doesn't want it in that empty lot either. None of them do.
yeah.
And why can't it stay where it is now? I mean, be
So it's-
rebuilt where it is now?
So it's partially that those property lines aren't accurate. It actually is partly on my neighbor's property. The property line goes right through that shed.
Hmm.
We both have surveys. My neighbor sent me her survey. I didn't look up on mine because, hers basically is gonna say the same thing mine does. Yeah, it goes right through the property line. Or the property line goes right through the shed.
Does it go through your house too?
No, it does not. Although I'm sure there are some situations where those do.
Yes, yes, they do.
Yeah.
No, the deck does not go through. Just the shed is on their property. Not all of it, but
Yeah, yeah, if we can see something with the flood zones listed, it looks to me, I have the Newburyport map up right now. And
okay.
there looks to be enough room in that corner right above the 20-foot thing. There seems to be plenty of room in the AO zone there, at least, because the AO zone looks like it goes about the distance between the property line and that red line. It's about the
Mhm.
same amount to the left, and then the triangle goes down to basically the corner below the 61 or 6 foot or whatever that is, 6 feet. So yeah, it seems like there's enough room in there, but yeah, if we can see something on showing it in that area, that would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Do you know that corner down where it says the 6 feet and the 20 feet, you know, where the black car is, if
Yeah.
you go down, Julia, yeah, right
Yeah.
down there. What's the approximate distance from the, like, just even the corner to the line of the AO zone? I mean, I don't know.
From that corner, it looks like it's about 5 or 6 feet.
Okay,
Not much.
all right, all right.
I know you probably don't want to come back into City Hall, but I'd be happy to
No,
look at this with you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to come back into City Hall.
Okay, well, let's do this, as Joe suggested, and the commissioners, I think, are in agreement that it'd be great to see a sketch of where you want to put the shed on the property plan with the FEMA zones delineated. And
Okay.
so we can talk about that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in the office tomorrow or the next day, but I will be there on Monday next week. If you want to come in on Monday, you can maybe do some thinking about it between now and then and sketch out some possibilities.
Yeah,
Then we
I
can talk about it
definitely
on
will.
Monday.
Yeah, thank you. And Julia, you've been so helpful. I really appreciate
No problem.
everything. All right, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate that as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just taking a peek at that. That's like a little oasis of natural environment in that neighborhood. Certainly wouldn't want to disrupt that. So
Lots of rabbit poop on that property.
yeah.
Sure.
You own the other lot also, Judith?
I do. And I bought it really because I didn't want anyone else to buy it and build on it. I love my beach grass. Obviously the lot's way bigger than the house. Yeah, but I'm glad you agree with me about that lot. It's too beautiful to wreck.
No, we agree.
All
Thank
right,
you,
well,
Judith.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, so next item, certificates of compliance, requested determinations. First one is City of Newburyport, 388 High Street, Lower Atkinson Common, request for determination.
Okay. So this is a project, an RDA submitted by the city for a little bit more work down at Lower Atkinson Common. As you can see in this, well, this is just an aerial in the presentation, and Kim Turner is here and she can present this. So why don't I just turn it over to Kim? Kim, you want to unmute and you can just tell me how to go through the presentation? Maybe not.
Kim, are you there?
Kim, are you here? I just moved her over to be a panelist. But maybe, there she is. Oh, maybe not. Looks like she's off. Well, I will just give a little bit of a brief like overview of what this is, and then maybe Kim can explain more when she gets back on. There might have been a technical difficulty there. But as you can see, Atkinson Common, this is the ball field that's furthest to the back, sort of toward the upper Atkinson, and this is the woods behind. This is like the properties on Moulton Street over here that head down towards Merrimack. And there's a wetland that sort of runs alongside the western edge of Atkinson or of the Pioneer Fields, in between the properties on Moulton Street and.
All right, Kim is back.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, Kim. Okay. Hi, Kim. What happened?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I was on my computer and it wouldn't recognize my speaker, so I had to join from my phone. That's never happened to me before. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I promoted you to a panelist. Maybe I should just leave you over here.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can just
Yeah.
do it from here. Again, I'm on my phone, so I don't know how much you covered. I don't want to.
I just gave them a brief overview of like the site conditions, meaning that we're
Sure.
like where we are, and then there's a wetland here in between Moulton Street and the fields. That's
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, so the administration was approached by the Pioneer League a few months back. They want to donate a batting cage to Lower Atkinson Common. So actually, Julie, if you want to go to the next slide there.
Sorry.
There's an existing batting cage where actually you can go to the next slide and I can just show them the image. So this is the bottom left field, which is the Hawks Lepre field, which is where some of the older kids play baseball. And Julia might have mentioned that there's an existing temporary batting cage there right now, wedged between the two chain link fences, between the property line fence and the Hawks field fence. There is a wetland that's recognized on the MyMap on the GIS off property, but approximating that the buffer zone does, the 25-foot does, sorry, not the 25-foot, the 100-foot buffer zone does skirt the Lower Atkinson Common property line. So it just sort of approximated that. The reason I'm requesting an RDA is because we're not changing the ground plane per se. The existing temporary batting cage that's there right now has sort of this crushed stone surfacing beneath it, and that's not going to change. I mean, they might top dress with, cut crushed stone where some of it is deteriorated, but they're not changing the ground plane. The batting cage is going to be slightly larger than what's there right now, but the total size is about 30 by 80 or 2,400 square feet. The only permanent structures will be 6 just over 8.5-inch diameter steel posts that will hang the nets from, and the nets will be removed in the wintertime, which they are right now. We don't believe there'll be any negative impact on water holding capacity or runoff here. Again, that's why we're requesting the RDA. And actually, Julia, if you want to go to the next slide. This is the existing conditions there now. You can see on the left-hand photo, that's the temporary batting cage that exists today. So they're just much thinner poles that hang the nets, and they will continue to take the nets down during the winter. So, and then on the picture on the right just shows sort of that crushed, I'm sorry, there was still snow on the ground when I took this, but it is just a fine crushed stone condition, which is their intention to keep that the way that it is. And then if you want to go to the next slide. This is just a picture of what the batting cage system that they're requesting to donate to the city. So you can see the poles are just a larger diameter pole, so they'll be more sturdy. They won't bend as easily. And then the nets just string between the poles, and those will be taken down during the winter. And then you can see the ground condition very similar to what's out there today, just that fine crushed stone. So that's sort of the gist of the presentation, if anyone has any questions.
Um, do they ever have any issues with birds and animals getting caught in that netting? Do you know? I just
Not
curious.
that, yeah, not that I've ever heard of.
Okay.
And I don't know, Julia, there might have, somebody from Pioneer League might be on the call. I'm not sure if they made it or not.
Okay, let me see. We've got Kate Blanchard, Sylvan Knight, and Benjamin Becker.
Don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, anybody?
When would they be installed this spring?
Well, they would have to get the donation approved through city council, but I would imagine that they probably would like to do the work as soon as possible. Their season starts pretty soon, I think. April, May, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for a -2 determination, which I think is the right one.
So,
Second,
all right, roll call, Seymour,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes,
and I vote yes. All right. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you very much.
All right, next item is Ben Becker, 8K Street, request for determination.
Okay, I think we do have Benjamin Becker here, so let me move him to a panelist. And he can explain the project that we've got on 8K Street. This is an aerial. Benjamin, you want to give a little overview of this?
Yes, Ben Becker here. My company is BLB Design Build, representing Maureen Pollard at 8K Street. Basically, at the moment, we're currently converting her garage into a master suite for her husband, who had some medical issues and has been unable to walk since he's been confined to a wheelchair. So she's trying to get him back into the house, and that is the reason for doing the ramp on the right side of the garage, which is turning into the new master suite. So as you can see, we have I drew the setbacks on it, but it's about 21 feet on the right side and 20 feet on the rear setback. I think after speaking with Julia, we talked about not putting any lattice work or anything underneath it, so that we can, the sand and birds and whatnot can go underneath it freely. But it will be a permanent structure. It's going to be, composite materials, and we're going to use helical piers for the footings.
Yeah, and I can just add quickly to that some different site issues, which is that the site is partially within the AE zone and partially out of the flood zone entirely, and that the location of the ramp not only is it within existing driveway, it's also out of the flood zone.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
No.
So you're saying basically the ramp would be built right on top of what's already driveway or some sort of hard foundation?
Correct. It's
So
just a
there-
gravel driveway, so we're gonna put helical piers in and then build it on top of that. But it'll still be permeable, so.
Hmm. No grading or anything else, just right off the piers.
Correct.
Okay.
It'll have to be elevated to meet the new floor height in the garage, which will be about, I think it's 4.5 feet above grade.
Okay. Anything else? Your motion?
I'll make a motion for a -2 determination.
A second.
All right, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right.
All right, and last but not least, Kate Blanchard and Craig Carpenter, 8 Nancy Street, request for certificate of compliance.
So, hold on a sec, let me get, Blanchard over here. Kate, I'm gonna promote you to a panelist, so hold on. All right, what you're seeing, this is just, the order of conditions from way back in 2008. And the project at 8 Nancy Street involved removing an existing 16 by 10 foot shed, constructing a 12 by 10 foot shed with a 4 by 10 foot deck connection and stairs. At the time, what they did is they initiated the work, they removed the existing shed, and then they didn't move forward with anything else. And in fact, a few years later, they asked for an extension permit because they weren't sure whether or not they were going to actually complete the project, but they wanted to extend it for 2 years. So the commission issued a 2-year extension, which then expired. They never did the work. They sold the house. Then the future owners are the ones now requesting the certificate of compliance because they're again selling the house, and the buyers need the order conditions closed out. So Kate Blanchard is the most recent owner. Kate, do you want to just give a quick overview?
Sure, thank you. I think you're looking at just some aerial and just some photography based on the most current look at the house where you can see there's no shed. And that one was from August 2023. And then if you scroll down, there's 2 other time stamps that show that there's no shed. There wasn't a shed from when we originally purchased the home, which was back in 2021. So if you scroll down just a little bit more, so no shed there. And then finally, we were able to pull some much older pictures from 2012 from back before they created like a 4-season room, and there wasn't a shed even back then. So thank you very much for putting us on your agenda for today. This is a cleanup so that the new owners have a clear and free title search on their hands.
Okay. Any questions? Get a motion?
Motion to issue the certificate of compliance. And I think, Julia, you wanted a note there to say that the work was never done.
Right, that the order of conditions is invalid because it's expired and the work was never completed.
Okay, sounds good.
Second.
All right, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
All right then. At 7:17, we have nothing else to discuss.
Can we talk about National Grid for a minute?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't tell from your email, Julia, whether they think if they put that duckbill valve on there and do some regrading that they're done, because there's still no vegetation up there.
Yeah, well,
I couldn't tell either. That's a good point. My assumption was that they mean to regrade it and plant it.
But they didn't say that.
I can't imagine how, even with that valve, if that's gonna solve all the flooding, because the day when I was out there, I sent you guys those pictures. There was incredible amount of water. I mean, maybe that wouldn't happen again ever, but
Well, it will, because the water's coming from 2 different places, well, 3 different. It's coming from the pipe, It's coming from the American Yacht Club. And it's coming from down by the Coast Guard station. So this is just, there was a storm. I forget where we had the storm surge, when it was, but there was 6 inches of water on the trail. Never mind how
Yes.
full the pond was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not, it's not going to completely solve the problem.
No, but at least
Have
give
them
it,
Come in to our meeting. I mean, if they're putting together a plan to revise this, shouldn't they just come in and explain it so that we can have a
Yes.
discussion?
yeah, I mean, we can make sure they understand it's gotta be planted too, but at least if they regrade it or they put some fill in there, at least that water's probably gonna drain.
Right.
And allow plants to survive better.
Right.
will
But it's
request-
still going to get flooded on occasion.
Yeah,
From other sources.
right, but at least it'll be graded such that it won't stay there.
Right. But I
So-
would think they would want to solve the other issues because it causes flooding over by the substation, which they don't want.
No. You're gonna say, David?
I was just gonna ask, what's the sequence here? They put together a plan and they tie it to their existing order of conditions and then we vote on the change or modification?
Yeah, essentially, what she was asking me in her email, one of her emails was whether they said they were gonna do this, make this change and put in a duckbill valve and regrade it. And she said, do you want me to submit that as a formal amendment? Or is this something, because the other than this one little piece, they're ready to move forward with a certificate of compliance. Or she said,
Yeah.
is it close enough to the certificate of compliance that you can review it and approve it during the certificate of compliance process? And I said, to make it cleaner, rather than doing a whole amendment at this point, why don't you give us, before you do the work, give us the plan and description of the proposed work, so we have a record of it before the certificate of compliance request, so we can see what you're doing and make sure it's okay. And then if it all looks good, go ahead and just resubmit it again with an as-built during certificate of compliance for approval then. That's sort of where we are in terms of the conversation. I haven't gotten anything from them yet. I haven't gotten a plan or anything. So that's why I agree with you. I think we need more. I think we need more detail. Are they going to vegetate it? How are they going to vegetate it? And so let's get them to just come in and meet with us and explain it all. We'll go from
Yeah. And let them know that we have an expectation that they're going to vegetate.
Yeah. Not just fill, but whatever.
Of course, they should know that, considering how much we've harassed them over the years about no vegetation there, but.
Yeah, right. I would think that'd be obvious.
Yeah. So Julia, I can send you some pictures that show the 6 inches of water on the trail there, if you think that might
Yeah,
help.
sure.
I
Yep.
just got to
I'm
find
just
them.
gonna see if they can come in for our very next meeting, because I think this has just been going on too long.
Yeah, it's spring.
Yeah, but pictures are great. So thank you, Steve.
Good
Okay.
time to plan.
Well, you had the ones I sent, which is the same area, looking
Yeah.
from the other direction. So you're welcome to use those if you want.
I sent them a lot of pictures.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. I was just wondering, Julia, have you heard anything from Charlie?
Yes, and I was mentioning this to Joe right when we got on. Charlie has sent an email indicating that he is going to resign or has resigned, which I
Okay.
forwarded to the mayor's office. He's moving apparently. He apologized for not being here very much and said that he can no longer serve on the commission. So that's the situation. So I let the mayor's office know, and I requested that they put out an advertisement for another commissioner. Their hands on
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
So if you guys know anybody, as usual, bring them in.
Okay.
All right.
Want a motion to adjourn?
If that is what you would like.
Second.
Sure.
All right. Roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, guys.
Thank
Right.
you so much.
We will
Good
be,
night.
I know we haven't been meeting a lot recently, but we will have a meeting in 2 weeks, April 2nd, I think it is. So just let me know if for any reason you're not gonna be there, because we are short down a member, and I just wanna make sure we got a quorum for that meeting.
I will not be there.
We will not, okay.
I will be in St. John.
Oh, gosh, right.
Oh,
Sorry.
Well,
I
you
just
could
got back
call
from
in
there.
from there.
No, no, if you knew what kind of reception and anything else there was there. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
No, I was there and we had good reception.
You have AT&T?
Um, no,
Really?
You
No?
still win the prize for zooming in from halfway across the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that one, Steve.
I'm not worried.
Wow.
All right,
All right.
I'll see you next time.
All right,
Right.
guys. Good
Good
night.
night.
Wait a minute. So Julie, does that mean we won't be meeting? There won't be enough people?
We will. We'll still have
Oh.
enough people if we have the rest of you guys.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I should be there.
If not, you
Okey-doke.
gotta try to let me know, sooner rather than later. That's all.
Okay.
All righty.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night.